In the early dawn light, within a high-end hotel, the sharp click of heels echoed relentlessly on the floor. The woman approached a door, decisively pushed it open, and cried out, "Tan Hien Le." Startled, the scumbag pulled the other woman protectively into his arms. His face darkened as he questioned, "Nguyen T, why are you here?" The person he held was none other than the eldest daughter of the Duong T group, Duong Noyet. Betrayed and furious, TT raised her hand, intending to slap the manipulative woman. "You despicable dash." But the scumbag caught her arm. He shoved her forcefully to the ground, his voice booming. "Nguyen T, what do you think you're doing?" Duong Noyet, clearly having the upper hand, swaggered arrogantly towards the man, flashing a defiant smile at the protagonist. "Ah, so you're Nguyen T? Can't keep your own boyfriend, so you come here throwing a tantrum?" TT trembled with rage. "Duong Noyet, you are utterly shameless." The scumbag fiercely defended his mistress, sneering cruelly at Nguyen T. "Someone like you, what right do you have to scold Noyet? Do you even know she's the precious daughter of the Duong T group? Please, recognize your own place." Duong Noyet patted his shoulder, placatingly advising the scoundrel, "Hien, why bother getting angry over her? This is just something a little money can solve." Saying this, she pulled a thick wad of cash from her handbag. Then, she brazenly threw it straight into Nguyen T's face. "If you know what's good for you, take this money and get lost. Stay away from Tan Hien." Suppressing the ache in her heart, Nguyen T awkwardly pushed herself up from the floor. She didn't even glance at the money, resolutely turning her back and walking away. Inside, her heart had truly turned to ice. "Tan Hien Lo, after all these years between us, this is how you treat me?" Time slipped by quickly. Sometime later, at a coffee shop, a young man sipped his coffee and slowly inquired, "First blind date?" She stirred her coffee, her gaze shyly darting away. With a fluttering, anxious heart, she replied, "Yes, it's the first time." Internally, she was wailing. "My mother forced me onto this blind date because I broke up. But why on earth is my blind date the boss of the company I work for?" Indeed, she was merely an employee in the administrative department of the Du Tuk Group, and the elegant man sitting across from her was none other than the CEO of the Du Tuk Group, Du Mac. He gave a slight nod and asked further, "Did you bring your household registration book?" His question made her eyes widen in astonishment. Is he suggesting? He didn't answer her unspoken question, instead asking decisively, "Do you have any more questions about me?" Of course, she didn't dare say yes, so she could only stammer, No, I don't." Satisfied, he stood up, urging her, "All right then, let's go." Nguyen T sat there, utterly bewildered like a lost fawn. "Huh? Hello. Go where?" Even as she walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau holding a marriage certificate, she still felt as though she were dreaming. "My first blind date, and just like that, I register our marriage." He carefully tucked the marriage certificate into his pocket, then spoke to her calmly. "I have an urgent meeting shortly, so I'll have Du Viet take you home first. After work, I will visit my parents-in-law." Hearing him speak so naturally, she could only manage a non-committal in response. Du Viet swiftly helped her open the rear car door. "Madam, please get in." And just like that, she found herself being chauffeured home by his secretary, utterly bewildered. Her mother, returning from the market, relayed the gossip she had picked up downstairs. "When I got back, I heard Mrs. Liu from our complex saying a young woman just stepped out of a luxury car. Who knows whose daughter she is, to have such good fortune." Clutching a pillow, she answered with perfect nonchalance, "Mom, that was me." Her mother, assuming her daughter was merely boasting, responded with a touch of disdain, "You? Would someone wealthy even glance your way? Remember, birds of a feather flock together, phoenixes pair with dragons. Nguyen T, just take a look in the mirror, and you'll know exactly what you pair with." She instantly sank into contemplation. If Mrs. Liu knew I'd actually married into a prestigious family, I wonder if the shock would make her faint. Her mother, as if suddenly recalling something, hastily inquired, "Oh right, how did the blind date go today?" Seeing her daughter looking dazed and out of sorts, her mother gave her forehead a light slap. "What are you spacing out for?" TT was jolted back to awareness by the tap. Seemingly afraid she might refuse, her mother added, "He's Mrs. Lee's nephew, you know. I heard he just turned 30 this year, but has never been in a relationship. I've seen his picture. He looks quite mature." She replied timidly, "Yes. Tonight he wants to come over to our place for dinner." Her words brought her mother to a halt. Then, Bustling about like a launched rocket, she hurried off to prepare. Things are progressing that quickly? Then Mom needs to go buy some more fish and meat. TT felt utterly exasperated with her mother. Mom, you're being way too enthusiastic. Lying on the sofa, she held the marriage certificate, gazing at the photograph of the two of them nestled within. This development is far too rapid, too perilous. Am I truly not dreaming? She had distinctly given up all hope regarding matters of the heart. Yet here she was, married in a flash to her company's CEO. She closed her eyes, immersing herself in her own thoughts. Although he did make it clear he couldn't offer me love. Marriage is merely a facade for outsiders, a way to prove he's living a perfectly normal life. It's just that now, to demonstrate this normality, we've made such a swift decision. Will I genuinely not come to regret this? Engulfed in her countless thoughts, she drifted off to sleep. In her slumber, she dreamed again of the scene where her scoundrel of an ex-boyfriend cheated on her. His scornful words echoed relentlessly in her ears. Nguyen TT, would you kindly recognize your own status? Are you Nguyen TT? Take this money and get away from Tan Hien Lu, please. Also crystal clear in the dream were the words spoken by Du D Mac, her whirlwind husband. Nguyen TT, I can give you everything except for love. She jolted awake from the nightmare, the corners of her eyes stinging uncontrollably with tears. Just as she sat up, she heard her mother's bright, welcoming chatter nearby. Little Du, come now, come. Have some water, eat some fruit. Annie just bought it today. It's wonderfully fresh. She wondered in confusion. Little Du? Surely she isn't calling him that? Her mother, Mrs. Lu, spotting her daughter emerging, smiled and waved. TT, you woke up just in time. Little Du is here. Hurry over and chat with the young man. With a heart full of apprehension, she slowly approached him. He had shed his usual CEO attire and was now clad in remarkably comfortable clothes. Duke D-Mac smiled, calling her name with an easy intimacy. TT. Replying out habit, she said, CO Du. Seeing him dressed so casually for the first time took her by surprise. Did he actually change his clothes specifically just to visit my home? He reached out his hand and said softly, give me your left hand. She didn't understand, but cooperated anyway. He slowly took out an exquisite ring and helped her put it on. Very good. The size fits perfectly. Seeing her surprise, he explained further. I told you, I will give you everything. He looked at her with gentle eyes. From now on, you can call me D-Mac, and I will call you TT. She blushed and asked, boss, we've only met once, isn't this too fast? It seems like you don't even know anything about me. He closed his eyes slightly, then recited her background in one breath. Your name is Nguyen TT, 24 years old this year. Graduated from the Public Administration Department of Zhangchao University. Currently working at the Du Tuk Group. Right, during your studies, you dated a boyfriend from the finance department, but you have now broken up. After hearing him state everything without missing a single detail, she shouted, cutting him off. All right, let's stop there. Outside the door, there was a clicking sound as it opened. Her father had just returned from work. Seeing an extra person in the house, he asked, TT, do we have a guest? She became flustered, hands and feet clumsy, telling him, I haven't told my parents yet that we've registered our marriage. TT wanted to caution him about something else, but she was cut off by her father standing behind her. His eyes filled with curiosity, he asked D-Mac, why are you here? D-Mac stood up and bowed politely. I greet you, teacher. Standing in the middle, TT felt like she didn't understand what was happening. She hadn't expected that this husband of hers knew her father from before. Mr. Nguyen smiled broadly, introducing his wife TT. D-Mac is the most prized student I used to mention to you too. Hearing this, TT covered her mouth in surprise. What? D-Mac is that famous senior who always ranked first and won countless awards? She didn't expect this action would draw her parents' attention to the ring she was wearing on her ring finger. Mrs. Lu's eyes went wide like saucers, her mouth forming an O as she asked loudly, Nguyen TT, what is this ring on your finger? She quickly glanced at D-Mac's hand. Unexpectedly, she discovered he was also wearing a ring similar to her daughter's. Mrs. Lu's eyes filled with suspicion. She crossed her arms, looking at the two of them, and asked, didn't you two just meet today? He, without any concealment, frankly confessed, Teacher, madam, TT and I have already registered our marriage. The whole house suddenly fell into silence, making TT extremely worried. The elderly couple even exchanged glances as if conferring. Then they suddenly beamed with radiant smiles, saying good. Registering the marriage is excellent. Mr. Nguyen looked at his son-in-law, smiling as if he'd had a bountiful harvest, and advised, D-Mac, TT is a kind-hearted and simple girl. She's thick-skinned and doesn't sweat the small stuff. She always makes her parents worry. From now on, she's in your care. He smiled politely and replied, Teacher, please rest assured, I will give TT everything she wants. Today, Du Viet brought her to the shopping center. Madam, please go shopping to your heart's content. I will return to the company now. In about 2 hours, the CEO will come and pick you up for a meal together. She nodded slightly. Okay, I understand. As she was strolling around, looking around the center, she suddenly heard a mocking voice from behind her. Ayo, is it really you, Nguyen TT? Duong Noyet looked at her, speaking mockingly. Hien Lo, look how accurate your initial choice was. This soft persimmon is still as dirt poor as ever. TT's eyes showed utter disgust upon seeing these two people. 2 years apart, I didn't expect Tan Hien Lo that you'd become even more like a dog. Tan Hien Lo, scorned by her, ground his teeth and cursed. Nguyen TT, this is not a place you should be. Duong Noyet was equally furious. 2 years apart, and your mouth has certainly gotten sharper, hasn't it? Hien Lo means this isn't a place for a poor wretch like you. Accustomed to throwing money around and looking down on others, she spoke loudly. Take this money and get lost. But this time, TT no longer endured the humiliation as she had 2 years ago. She stepped forward and decisively slapped Duong Noyet across the face. This unexpected slap stunned her for several seconds. TT, radiating an imposing aura, coolly stated, Did you really think I was still the Nguyen TT you could insult at will like back then? Duong Noyet, after regaining her composure, clutched her cheek and turned angrily towards the back, shouting, Tan Hien Lo, what are you standing there for? Didn't you see her hit me? And you're not even helping. TT seized the opportunity to confront her ex-boyfriend, her voice laced with undisguised mockery. Tan Hien Lo, I truly overestimated you. I thought you were still human. I didn't expect that now. You're nothing more than a dog. The scoundrel was instantly enraged by her words. Nguyen TT, you brought this upon yourself. With that, he aggressively raised his hand, intending to strike her. But before his hand could touch TT's face, another arm shot out and grabbed his, stopping him. D-Mac, emanating a chilling, murderous aura, coldly asked, You want to hit her? He turned to her worriedly, asking, Are you hurt? TT, momentarily overwhelmed by his imposing presence, stammered, No, only when they clearly saw who stood before them did Duong Noyet and Tan Hien Le gasp, Boss Du? You're D-Mac. Losing patience, he frowned and barked a single word, Scram. Duong Noyet, unaccustomed to being slighted, was determined to have the last word. On what grounds do you tell us to scram? This shopping center belongs to my family. He calmly delivered a devastatingly impactful sentence. Correct. But from this moment forward, this shopping center is now an asset under our Du Tuk group. Duong Noyet wanted to argue further, but Tan Hien Lo, ever the opportunist, quickly stopped her. Sorry, Boss Du, we'll leave right away. We're leaving right now. Dusk gradually descended. Seeing it was getting late, he took her to dinner. Her heart filled with guilt, she asked apologetically, I'm sorry. Did I cause trouble for you? Thank you for what happened earlier. Faced with this polite formality, he had to look up at her. When TT, his expression utterly sincere, he said, Remember this, you are the wife of D-Mac. Therefore, you don't need to apologize to anyone, nor do you need to fear anyone. With that, he pushed the chopsticks towards her. All right, eat. Although he had said this, TT still felt incredibly burdened. She remained silent. In the car on the way home, she said sadly to Du Viet, I think I might have upset him. She probed, Do you think I made him lose face? Du Viet glanced at her through the rearview mirror and replied, Madam, the CEO is angry because he was afraid you would be wrong. He has always been extremely protective of his own. Hearing this, her heart felt somewhat lighter. Are you telling the truth? Du Viet smiled, nodding while driving. Of course it's true. He even kindly advised, Madam, if something like this happens again, you must remember to call me. I will definitely come right away. TT was deeply moved. Okay, I understand. At that moment, within Duong Noyet's villa, the incessant sound of things being smashed echoed through the room. Tan Hien Lu was currently cowering as he knelt on the floor. Duong Noyet, enraged by the afternoon's events, flared up, Tan Hien Lu, what is your meaning? You actually helped an outsider against me, didn't you? Tan Hien Lu, his face more obsequious than ever, tried to placate her, saying, "Wife, darling, I didn't." Duong Noyet didn't believe him. Her face contorted as she yelled, "Then why didn't you strike that bitch and win TT? Isn't it just one dude D-Mac? What are you afraid of him for?" Tan Hien Lu said with apprehension, "Wife, darling, we cannot afford to provoke that dude D-Mac." Duong Noyet, filled with disgust, kicked Tan Hien Lu hard. "I'm truly useless trash. Get out of my sight." Tan Hien Lu yelped in pain. She, unwilling to accept such humiliation, sat down on a chair, biting her nails as she searched for a countermeasure. Losing face like this, I absolutin cannot fortguide hat beaten when TT. Suddenly, an idea struck her. Oh, that's right. Acting immediately, she took out her phone and contacted someone. Hanging up, she let out a triumphant laugh. "Nguyen TT, don't you have Dude D-Mac backing you? So, what if you lose your great pillar of support, Dude D-Mac? When that time comes, I want to see what you will do." Ha! Meanwhile, TT was completely unaware of the turmoil about to befall her. At this moment, she was standing forlornly amidst countless suitcases at Dude D-Mac's place. Knowing we registered our marriage, were Mom and Dad really that eager to kick me out of the house? With so much stuff, how am I supposed to arrange it all? She glanced around, making a decision. A villa this large must surely have a storage room I can temporarily put things in, right? Hugging a box, she walked up the stairs, filled with questions. But there are so many rooms. Which one is the storage room? Passing by a room tucked away in a secluded spot, she paused. Could it be this room? She carefully peered inside. Noticing countless books on the shelves, she thought again, is this a study? As she wandered back and forth in a daze, she carelessly caused a photo frame on the desk to fall to the ground. This incident made her heart pound with anxiety. Oh dear, this is bad. Tensely, she bent down to pick up the frame. Seeing the frame was still intact, she sighed in relief. Luckily, it didn't break. She carefully placed it back in its original position on the desk. Just then, a small piece of paper slipped out from inside the frame. Curiously, she picked it up to take a look. The content of the note read as follows. "On Mac, I like you. Signed, Yi Ni." She fell into contemplation again. Right at that moment, his voice echoed, startling her as if she'd been caught red-handed. "What are you doing?" Tense, she didn't know how to explain. I, in her carelessness, the frame in her hand suddenly slipped again. But he was quicker, catching it deftly. Sensing the displeasure on his face, she explained, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." His expression darkened, turning grim. Coldly, he ordered, "Get out." She answered with a single word, "Okay," and then brushed past him and left. Seeing him just stand there motionless, staring at the photo frame, made her feel dejected. Looking at him like this, that must be something very important to do D-Mac. Just then, Duviet also came rushing over. "Madam, why are you carrying this box? Quick, give it to me." She handed the box to Du Viet and said, "Assistant Du, just now I wanted to find a storage room, but accidentally went into the study. Not only that, but I also touched Du D-Mac's things. It seems I've angered him again." Du Viet offered an apologetic, strained smile in response. "This is all my fault for not explaining clearly to Madam beforehand. The CEO's study is a restricted area. Absolutely no one is allowed inside." Recalling the look of deep longing on his face as he gazed at that photo frame, her spirits sank. "All right, I understand now." That night, partly due to the unfamiliar surroundings and partly due to the earlier incident in the study, she tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Her thoughts kept circling back to Du D-Mac. Someone he could address so intimately must certainly have a very close relationship with Du D-Mac. Moreover, Du D-Mac seemed to cherish that photo frame deeply. An unsettling feeling washed over her, and she pulled the blanket tightly over herself. Her mind was filled with questions. Is this Yuan Ni the person Du D-Mac likes? Then why did he want to marry me? Early the next morning, at the Du Took Group headquarters, having lost sleep the entire night, she woke up late. Now, she rushed frantically towards the company. Phew, just made it. She was sighing in relief, glad to have avoided any trouble and arrived without incident. But a sound beside her made her jump. Sister-in-law, good morning." Her manager stood with her arms crossed, her expression serious. "Today, I have an announcement to make." Seeing that everyone had gathered, Sister Lon announced, "Starting today, Nguyen TT will be promoted to administrative assistant. TT Litsten in Astonim." Sister Lon, what is this about? Me? I actually got promoted. Sister Lon looked at her and said, I only received the notification from the HR department this morning myself. As for why, I don't know. Once the information sunk in, she brightened considerably, feeling overjoyed and energized. Yes, Sister Lon, I will do my best. Murmurs of discontent and unabashed skepticism immediately filled the room. She's only been working here for 2 years. On what grounds did she get promoted? Exactly. I remember you've completed 3 years this year, right? You're clearly more suitable than her. Who knows what kind of damned luck she stumbled upon to be so fortunate. Hearing the gossip swirling around her, TT's joyful mood instantly deflated. While a promotion should be a happy occasion, being promoted so suddenly like this, and then hearing everyone whispering behind her back, wasn't pleasant at all. Vong Loi, and in turn, approached with a congratulatory smile. Sita TT, gong dating. Thank you, Loi Loi. Vong Loi noticed the ring she was wearing on her hand and asked in surprise, Wow, Sister TT, this ring of yours is beautiful. Can I borrow it to wear? She refused firmly. Sorry, it's actually my wedding ring, so I can't let you wear it. Vong Loi looked quite surprised. Sister TT, you're married? Since when? She raised a hand to scratch her face, answering with embarrassment. We met on a blind date. It's only been 2 days. Vong Loi didn't dwell on it and switched topics. It's almost lunchtime, Sister TT. Let's go eat together. It just so happens there's something I don't understand that I wanted to ask you about. TT declined, but Vong Loi grabbed her arm, whining and shaking it back and forth. Please teach me. I'm really worried I'll make mistakes during the internship review. If that happens, I won't be able to pass the probation period. Feeling helpless, Nguyen TT had no choice but to stand up. All right then, let's go. Very quickly, the two arrived at the Jiangzhou International Hotel. An incredibly lavish spread of dishes was promptly served and brought to their table. TT asked, somewhat cautiously, Loi Loi, are we having lunch at such a high-end place? Vong Loi sidled closer, hugging her arm tightly and smiling. That's right, Sister TT. I wanted to thank you for looking out for me all this time. Besides, I've already ordered the food. It would be such a waste not to eat it. Vong Loi raised her glass. Sister TT, congratulations on your promotion. Without dwelling on it, TT quickly lifted her glass in return. Loi Loi, thank you. After the toast, she tilted her head back and drained the glass in one go. But the moment she finished drinking, she sensed something was terribly wrong. The glass slipped from her grasp, clattering onto the table. TT felt an intense heat rapidly engulfing her entire body. It's strange. Loi Loi, is the air conditioning broken in here? Oh, really? But I don't feel anything. TT struggled to push her trembling body upright. Loi Loi, I feel a bit unwell. I should leave first. But before she could take a single step, her strength deserted her, and she collapsed heavily back onto the chair. Vong Loi feigned concern, asking, Sister TT, surely you haven't caught a cold and developed a fever? Through TT's dimming vision, she heard Vong Loi's voice. How about this, Sister TT? Let me book a room for you so you can rest properly. While I'm at it, I'll request leave for you from the company. TT barely registered these words before losing consciousness completely. Seeing her plan succeed, Vong Loi smirked. Now, even if Nguyen TT grew wings, escape would be difficult. But who could she blame? Who told her to offend that formidable cousin of mine? Just then, the sound of a door opening echoed. Duong Kiet, the director of some company, walked in, chuckling heartily as he asked, Finished dealing with it so quickly? Vong Loi handed him a room card, saying, Boss Dong, room 1807 has been prepared for you. The person is also entrusted to you. Meanwhile, Du Viet, unable to reach TT, spoke urgently. Boss Du, the madam's phone still isn't connecting. Du Viet also relayed the gossip circulating the company that morning. Boss Du, the promotion you arranged was announced. However, because of this, some people in the company have started whispering and discussing it. Could the madam possibly not be answering her phone because of this? Du Dimakis faz d'arconnet instantly. Keep calling until she picks up. Just then, by some coincidence, Vong Loi happened to walk past him. She was engrossed in admiring the ring she had taken from Nguyen TT, completely oblivious to Du D-Mac's presence. He recognized the ring instantly. Stop, he commanded coldly. Startled, Vong Loi turned around, stammering, Bebop. boss. Boss du, where did you get the ring on your hand? He asked, his voice frigid. Vong Loi lied without blinking. This ring, I bought it myself. Her lie displeased him. Oh, is that so? His eyes, cold as ice, bore into her as he demanded, where is Nguyen Tt? Vong Loi flinched, her mind screaming this is bad, but she still denied it outwardly. I don't know. She backed away in fear, but glancing around, her face turned pale as she saw countless bodyguards belonging to Dude D. Mac surrounding her. Under this immense pressure, she finally confessed, I'll talk. Sister TT and I want to eat together, but suddenly she felt unwell. So I took her to rest in room 1807. Du Viet's face broke out in a cold sweat. Boss Du, 1807 is one of the themed love suites. Could the madam be in danger? Urgently, Dude D-Mac rushed towards that location with Du Viet. Before leaving, he didn't forget to command the bodyguards. You people, deal with her. Du Viet, follow me. As he ran, his heart felt like it was burning. I promised teacher I would protect her. Nguyen Tt, you absolutely must not let anything happen to you. The thought spurred him on, increasing his speed as he raced away. At that very moment, in room 1807, she groggily awoke to find an old man before her. Duong Kiet's eyes glinted with lust as he smirked lewdly. Finally awake, are we? Play with me today, and I promise you won't miss out on your share. When Tt the Goi in fear, don't touch me. Get out. Duong Kiet advanced, step by step. Little sister, it's come to this. Do you really think you can run? Tt struggled desperately. No, let go of me. Duong Kiet pressed on relentlessly. All right now, even if you scream louder, no one will come to save you. Why not just play along with me? Just as he was about to force himself upon her, the door was suddenly kicked open with a resounding crash. Duong Kiet, his excitement abruptly shattered, turned his head, ready to curse the intruder. His corpulent body was sent flying to the ground by an unsparing kick. Thud! Only when he clearly saw the person before him did he truly understand fear. Be boss. Boss du. Dude D-Mac clenched his fists tightly in anger. Who gave you the audacity to touch my woman? Hearing this, cold sweat beaded profusely on the old man's face. I just paid for some fun. How? How could she be your woman? Disgusted by the need to argue with such a person, Du D-Mac ordered, Du Viet, take him away and deal with him. Yes, leave it to me. Duong Kiet scrambled to his knees, crying and pleading. Bot Du, Jung Kit Fdom Fong Tang. For the sake of our past cooperation, please spare me this time. It was my fault. I was blind to have provoked your woman. He immediately implicated the person behind the scheme. Boss Du, this whole incident was orchestrated by Duong Noyet. I truly knew nothing about it. Du Dimakis Bro Furod. So it was all her doing. He walked to the bedside, speaking with concern. Get up. I'll take you to the hospital in a moment. TT, burning with fever, reached out and clutched his sleeve. She pressed her entire body into his embrace, her voice barely a whisper. No hospital. Du D-Mac sensed something was wrong and tried to push her away. Nguyen Tt let go, but she only clung to him tighter. I'm hot, so hot. Her face flushed crimson. She looked up at him. So hot. I want to hold you. Du Viet, pausing at the door, asked worriedly. Boss Du, should I call a doctor for madam? Du D-Mac looked at her and sighed. I'm afraid it's too late. The door clicked shut. He reached up and loosened the tie around his neck. Impatient, unable to wait, she lunged towards him. Du D-Mac's eyes widened. He hesitated for a fleeting moment, then reciprocated her advance. TT Gapet, Shahot, help me. Faced with her fervent invitation, his own face flushed just as red. It's come to this. You can't blame me. With that, he tossed his clothes to the floor. The two fell into a passionate battle, losing count of the rounds. The next day, when she awoke, she remembered nothing. Staring blankly at the ceiling, she wondered, what happened to me? Her eyes scanned the unfamiliar room, and suddenly, fragments of yesterday's memory surfaced. Flustered, TT pulled the blanket tighter around herself. Me, and Du D-Mac. We actually, as she was putting on her robe, she heard a sound. Tensing up, she called out, Who is it? Du Viet's voice came from outside. Madam, it's me. Madam, are you finished resting? TT quickly adjusted her clothes before stepping out. Boss Du instructed that once you've rested, I am to take you home. Du Viet offered a slight smile as he handed her the ring. Also, Boss Du told me to give this back to you. Du Viet relayed Du D-Mac's words without missing a single detail. Boss Du also said to keep it safe from now on and not lose it again. She happily took it and put it on her wrist. Okay, I know. I won't lose it again. After tidying up briefly, she was driven back to Du Mac's villa by Du Viet. As soon as she stepped inside, she caught the fragrant aroma wafting through the house. She thought to herself, why does it smell like food? Addressing her curiosity, the housekeeper brought out food, smiling as she asked, "You must be the mistress of this house, correct?" TT opened her mouth to ask, "Auntie, you are?" The woman, carrying a pan of fragrant food, said, "I am the housekeeper the young master transferred from the main family residence. From now on, I'll be here to take care of your daily needs." Du Viet stepped in to explain further. Annie Dung is from the Du family's main residence and was specifically assigned by boss Du to care for you. Annie Dung smiled kindly and added, "That's right. I've taken care of the young master since he was little, so I know his preferences and tastes very well. I've finished preparing dinner. I just hope it suits the young mistress's palate." TT gazed at the abundant spread on the table with admiration. Without hesitation, she sat down at the table and immediately began to eat, praising Auntie Dung profusely as she ate. "Annie Dung, these meatballs are delicious." Annie Dung looked quite pleased. "If you like them, eat more." "Oh, right. The steamed snow pear with rock sugar should be ready soon." TT had only been eating for a short while when Du Mac arrived home. Seeing him, she felt shy again and put down her chopsticks. Why are you back?" Noticing her awkwardness, he took the chance to tease her. "Is it wrong for me to come back to my own home?" Auntie Dung brought out more dishes, saw him, and greeted him. "Young master, you're back." She noticed TT had suddenly stopped eating mid-bite. Auntie Dung didn't understand and asked, "Young mistress, why aren't you eating anymore?" TT didn't dare look Du Mac directly in the eye. She avoided his gaze, stood up, and said, "I'm full." Yes, I'm definitely full." With that, she hastily ran off. He chuckled softly as he watched her retreating figure. TT ran all the way up the stairs. Just as she was breathing a sigh of relief, thinking she had escaped, his voice sounded from behind her. "What are you running from?" He pressed closer, forcing her to meet his gaze, and teased with a smile, "Do you think I'm going to eat you?" She blushed furiously under his stare, unsure how to respond. I. He suddenly grabbed her hand and pulled her away. Confused, she asked, What are you doing?" He pulled her into the bedroom and slammed the door shut with a bang. TT stood nervously to one side. He spoke concisely, just one word, "sit." However, to her ears, it sounded like the word "do." It made her freeze completely. She covered herself with her hands. "No, do what?" TT stood rigidly, tense as a statue. Du Mac was rendered speechless by her guardedness. He sighed and said, "I told you to sit down. I'll help you treat the injury you got earlier." Only upon hearing this did she finally relax and sit down. He gently used a cotton swab to tend her wound. Being this close allowed her to see every expression on his face. The Du Mac of today seemed slightly different. After treating her wound, he instructed, "Rest at home for the next few days. There's no need to rush back to work." She immediately voiced her concern. "What about my promotion?" While putting the supplies back into the first aid kit, he replied, "I arranged it." Hearing this, her mood instantly soured. She had thought the promotion was due to her own capabilities, never expecting it was because her husband had pulled strings. "Why? Nguyen TT, have you forgotten that you are my D Mac's wife? Therefore, you deserve better things." Her heart fluttered slightly, so she did hold a place in his heart. "All right, try to get some rest. If you need anything, find Annie Dung." "Okay, I understand." TT watched his retreating figure, her heart filled with a lingering attachment. She had to admit, no man had ever spoken to her like that before. If they had, it was only with words of contempt. She crossed her arms, sadly thinking about the relationship she had poured so much emotion into nurturing. Even Tan Hien Lu, her first love, had only belittled her after betraying her. Only he was different. He gave her a sense of being protected and safe. Nguyen TT, remember this. You are my Du Mac's wife, so you don't need to apologize to anyone, nor do you need to fear anyone. His earlier words still echoed deep within her. Nguyen TT, have you forgotten that you are my Du Mac's wife? You deserve better things. That's right, Du Mac said she deserved better things. Yes, he wasn't wrong. She truly deserved better things. Finally, she managed to release the knot in her heart. Seeing her mother calling, she answered cheerfully, "Hello, Mom? What's up?" Mrs. Lu's dissatisfied shouting came through the phone. "TT, have you forgotten that the day after tomorrow is your father's birthday? I bet now that you're married, you couldn't care less about us old folks, right?" She chuckled and explained, No, Mom. I remember. Mrs. Liu then lowered her voice and continued. However, I've already made arrangement for the day after tomorrow. When the time comes, bring little Do along, and oh right, remember to tell the boy to bring his parents too. Our whole family will have a meal together. TT broke into a cold sweat hearing this. Mom, can meeting Duke DMAC's parents be postponed to another time? I haven't told him yet. Mrs. Liu disagreed and immediately retorted. Postpone what? I think this is the perfect time, and it coincides with your father's birthday. It's even more suitable for our two families to meet. TT, let me tell you, your father has already agreed to this, so don't even try to get out of it with me. With that, she quickly hung up before her daughter could object again. She stared at the phone, filled with awkwardness. If she told Dude D-Mac that her family wanted to meet his parents, would he agree? In the afternoon, while sitting in the study reading, she heard the sound of a car in the yard below. She quickly looked through the window. He must be back. She hurried downstairs. Oni Jung, yes, Juji Makbak. Oni Jung note that? Yes, the young master just returned. However, it seems his expression isn't very good. What's wrong, young mistress? Is something the matter? TT avoided answering her question, instead suggesting, Auntie Dung, give the tea to me. Let me take it to him. Auntie Dung quickly handed the tea tray to her. She walked to the front of his study and knocked a few times. A voice from inside called out, Come in. She entered with a smile. This is the tea Auntie Dung just brewed. I brought it for you. He merely gave a soft She placed the tea tray on the table. Noticing she hadn't left yet, he looked up and asked, Is there something else? TT musta her guzai, pretending to inqui kasu. It's nothing really. I just wanted to talk to you. I've been here for a few days already and haven't met your parents yet. Seeing his unhappy expression, she hesitated cautiously for a moment before continuing. Actually, I'm quite curious about your parents. For some reason, D-Mac's expression grew increasingly dark. TT cautiously asked, Did I say something wrong? D-Mac couldn't contain his anger and slammed his hand on the table. He stood up, looking down at her, and demanded loudly, Nguyen TT, do you have too much free time on your hands? Seeing his strong reaction, she swallowed hard, unsure what to say. He didn't give her a chance to continue, decisively lecturing her in a loud voice. If I were you, I would focus my energy on work, thinking about how to eliminate those baseless rumors at the company, not concerning myself with unimportant matters like this. His words stunned her completely, the injustice bringing tears to her eyes. TT turned away, thinking heartbrokenly, I only mentioned his parents. And he got this angry. Even though D-Mac and I are legally married, it seems there's no difference between us and strangers right now. Seeing her looking dejected as she came downstairs, Auntie Dung was somewhat worried. Young mistress, what happened? Why did the young master suddenly leave? TT couldn't hold back her tears. Auntie Dung, just now, I wanted to ask about his parents, but it seems I angered him. Hearing this, Auntie Dung felt as if she'd been struck by lightning. Young mistress, so you didn't know? For the young master, his mother is a forbidden topic that no one is allowed to mention. Auntie Dung's expression grew somber as she began to explain. The madam passed away from illness. Before she died, she wanted to see the master, but he was too busy and couldn't return in time. Ever since then, a rift formed between the young master and the master. The more she spoke, the more she sighed. Normally, the young master and the master are not close, and he especially dislikes others mentioning his parents. After listening, TT understood somewhat. She asked guiltily, Then what should I do? I really didn't mean to. Auntie Dung patted her shoulder comfortingly. Young mistress, you don't need to blame yourself too much. There's no fault in ignorance. Wait for the young master to calm down, and things will naturally be all right. Auntie Dung seemed to remember something, clapping her hands as she suggested an idea. Oh, that's right. The young master really likes sea cucumber rib soup. How about I teach you how to cook it for him? TT regained some spirit, smiling faintly. Okay, thank you, Auntie Dung. She tried to encourage herself. Instead of just offering empty apologies, it's better to do something for Dude D-Mac with my own hands. That afternoon, at the Dew Corporation, TT, completely bundled up, carried the freshly made soup into the elevator. She thought silently, dressed like this to find him, surely my colleagues won't recognize me, right? As the elevator doors opened on the 55th floor, she quickly stepped out, but she was immediately blocked by his secretary, who held out a hand. Trinlo, Dude D. Mac's secretary asked loudly in annoyance. Who are you? Do you know where this is? Delivery personnel are not allowed to enter this floor freely. Startled by the loud shout, TT raised her hands defensively. I'm not. Nearby, he had just finished a meeting with the project team. Reviewing the plan, he said, follow Team A's proposal. Give me the complete plan in 3 days. As he was walking, his gaze suddenly shifted forward. TT saw him too. She was about to signal to him, but he ignored her, focusing intently on his iPad. Trin Lo approached him with an ingratiating smile. Boss Du, I've placed the documents you needed in your office. Du D. Mac gave an indifferent Trin Lo glanced back towards TT and continued. Boss Du, I don't know where this delivery person came from, but she keeps trying to barge in. I'll get rid of her right away. But his next words confused the secretary. No need. Just let her in. Huh? What does that mean? Dude D. Mac, losing patience, emphasized, I said, let her come in. Trin Lo, having been scolded, seemed to take her frustration out on TT. Why didn't you say earlier that you were bringing something for Boss Du? Hurry up and go in. He sat at his desk and asked blandly, what are you doing here? She held the soup container tightly and whispered, I came to bring you some soup. About yesterday, it was my fault. You're usually so busy, I shouldn't cause more trouble for you. Wearily, he leaned back in his chair. I know. She approached him, looking at him and asking softly, so, you're not angry anymore? He replied with his eyes closed. Hearing this, TT brightened up. Then tonight, could you? But before she could finish, Trin Lo's voice came from outside. Boss Du, there's a document that needs your signature. He looked at her and said, you should go first. TT swallowed the words she was about to say. All right then, you get back to work. She walked home listlessly, gazing at the streets, lost in thought. She had told her mother she would invite Dude D. Mac to dinner tonight, but he was so busy, he probably couldn't make it. How was she going to explain this to her parents reasonably this time? Oh well, never mind. She should choose a birthday gift for her father first. TT entered a nearby shop. After browsing for a while, a particular pen caught her eye. She pointed and asked, Miss, could I see the fountain pen displayed inside there? The staff pointed towards a person sitting nearby and said, I'm sorry, this fountain pen has just been sold. It just hasn't been wrapped yet. The buyer is that gentleman over there. TT looked over and was quite surprised by the young man's appearance. She immediately noticed he bore some resemblance to her husband. The young man also noticed her looking at him. He offered a polite smile, as if in greeting. She startled slightly and turned to leave. Oh no, how rude of me to stare at him for so long. I need to get out of here quickly. But suddenly, the young man spoke up. Excuse me, please wait. Hearing this, she turned back and asked, is something wrong? The young man looked at her and spoke calmly. I overheard your conversation just now. It seems you also had your eye on this fountain pen. Is that correct? TT nodded, admitting, yes, that's right. But if it already has an owner, then never mind. The young man suddenly suggested, I haven't paid for it yet. If you genuinely like it, I can let you have it. Hearing this, she immediately beamed with joy. Really? You'd really let me have it? The young man shrugged, his eyes crinkling in a sincere smile. A gentleman does not take what another desires. Besides, I simply enjoy collecting them. So, if you need it more, I can yield it to you. TT, naturally, couldn't bring herself to refuse. She happily accepted the young man's kind offer. Well then, thank you so much. She hugged the gift box and left cheerfully. Dad will definitely love this gift. The young man watched her retreating back and slowly murmured, so that's the woman who married Du D. Mac? An assistant bowed and replied, yes, young master. That is her, Nguyen TT. Back home, Auntie Dung saw him arrive and greeted him with a smile. Young master, you're back. He glanced around, not seeing her, and asked, why isn't Nguyen TT home? Auntie Dung answered honestly. The young mistress went out. She said she was going to celebrate her father's birthday. Hearing this, he froze. Birthday? Could it be today is teacher's birthday? Afraid the couple would misunderstand each other again, kind Auntie Dung spoke up for TT to the young master. Before the young mistress went out, I asked her why she didn't tell you to come along. She said she was afraid of disturbing your work, so she didn't let you know. Auntie Dung even deliberately advised the young master. I think the young mistress cares quite a bit about you. She knew she upset you yesterday, and even learned how to make pork rib soup for me. This morning, she spent several hours cooking it before rushing it over to the company for you. A sense of guilt suddenly surfaced in Du D. Mac's heart. All right, I understand. He took out his phone and called Du Viet, quickly find out where Nguyen TT went. Remember, the faster, the better. She followed the address her mother sent and quickly arrived at the restaurant for their meal. Mom, Dad, I'm here. Her mother smiled at her daughter. TT, Zuve Adi, quick, have a seat. Seeing she had come alone, her mother immediately asked, Huh? Where's little Du? And his parents? TT tensed up, unsure how to answer without upsetting her parents. As she struggled for words, his voice rang out from right behind her. Mom, Dad, I'm truly sorry for being late. TT turned her head towards the source of the voice. How'd he get here? Du Mac, carrying a gift box, quickly walked inside. Mom, Dad, I'm so sorry. I was held up by some matters, so I arrived a little late. I've kept you waiting. Mr. Nguyen smiled benevolently. It's all right. We just arrived not long ago ourselves. Mrs. Liu's expression fell slightly. But why didn't your parents come? She cast a glance towards her daughter. Under her mother's gaze, TT lowered her head. How should I explain this? But before she could say anything, he spoke up, rescuing her. My father had business abroad and isn't in the country during this time. As for my mother, she passed away when I was 20. There's still a grandmother at home, right, Mom? Haven't you met her before? Because my grandmother's health isn't very good, I didn't bring her here. Mrs. Liu patted his shoulder apologetically. If that's the case, now that you're here, Mom and Dad consider it as receiving your kind intentions. Quick, sit down. Let Mom tell the waiter to bring the food up. He brought the gift box over to his father-in-law. Dad, don't you enjoy playing chess? This time, I specially found a good chess set to present to you out of respect. Mr. Nguyen received the gift, smiling brighter than a flower. D-Mac, you understand Dad the best. Today, we father and son must have a proper drink. She smilingly took out her own gift. Dad, I also prepared a gift for you. Mr. Nguyen suddenly took his daughter's and son-in-law's hands, placed them together, and then said in a sincere tone, Actually, Dad doesn't care about gifts or not. As long as the two of you live well together, Dad can rest assured. He suddenly tightened his grip, intertwining his fingers with hers. Playing the part of a dutiful son-in-law, he said, Dad, rest assured, I will do it. His words made her blush and fall silent. While the family was eating, Max suddenly received a phone call. He stood up, excusing himself. Mom, Dad, please excuse me. I need to take this call for a moment. TT watched his retreating back, seemingly lost in thought. Afterward, she also found an excuse to follow him. Mom, Dad, I'm just going to the restroom. I'll be right back. She quietly stood waiting for him to finish his call without making any noise. While talking on the phone, he noticed her. After hanging up, he asked, Why aren't you in a room with Mom and Dad? Why did you come out here? She voiced her own question. Why did you suddenly come here? He stood facing her and replied, It was Andy Dung who told me. She said that no matter what happens with Nguyen TT from now on, these matters must be relayed to me. I am your husband. Logically, it's my duty to accompany you. She lowered her head. I was afraid you were busy. He looked at her, speaking with sincerity. Regardless of whether I'm busy or not, when it comes to your affairs, I will always accompany you. Her heart, which had been downcast, began to flutter again just from his words. He thoughtfully added instructions. I've arranged for someone. He will take your parents home later. Du Viet will be responsible for taking you home. You should rest early. Knowing he wasn't returning with her, she asked in surprise, Aren't you coming back? He focused on his phone and said, I still have a social engagement I need to make an appearance at, so you go back first. She suddenly clutched his sleeve, filled with anticipation, asking, Can I go with you? He hadn't expected her to make such a suggestion. You want to come with me? Under his scrutinizing gaze, she lowered her head and nodded slightly. Yes, I want to go with you. He looked at her for a moment before agreeing. All right, then we'll go together. After parting ways with his parents-in-law, he took her to the Gia Thin Club, one of the most renowned in the city. Looking at the luxurious place, she mused. He actually discusses business in a place like this? He unfastened his seatbelt and said, Let's get out. Every attendant here recognized him. Thus, upon seeing him arrive, they respectfully greeted, Mr. Du, please follow me. Next, the attendant led him and her into a room where numerous people were cheerfully playing billiards. Seeing him appear, everyone stopped, smilingly greeting. Boss Du, long time no see. Boss Du has arrived. He leaned in and whispered close to her ear, I need to find someone to discuss something briefly. Wait for me here. Okay. Once I'm done, we'll leave and go home. Feeling the warmth of his breath brush against her face, TT shyly replied, Okay, you go ahead. While waiting for him to finish his business, she felt extremely restless and uneasy, perhaps because it was her first time in such a place. A woman in a red dress approached to strike up a conversation with TT. Hello, my name is Song Song. What's your name? Si politi zet ponde, Hello, I'm Wen TT. The woman in red sat down, offered her a glass of champagne, and inquired probingly, Mr. Du brought you here? How about this? Since you're Mr. Du's friend, let's have a drink to get acquainted. She looked at the glass before her and declined. Sorry, I don't know how to drink this. Hearing this, the other woman covered her mouth and laughed incredulously. Don't know how to drink? The woman Mr. Du brought actually says she doesn't know how to drink? Isn't that just embarrassing him? The red-dressed woman's voice was loud, causing numerous curious onlookers to glance towards the two of them. She was determined to corner her. Everyone here is Mr. Du's friend. If you come here and don't have a single drink, isn't that showing disrespect? Analyzing the situation, she thought, I can't cause more trouble for Du D-Mac. But if I don't drink, she definitely won't let it go and will keep pushing. Her hand hesitated, reaching out for the champagne glass. Then decisively, she tilted her head back and downed it in one go, placing the empty glass back on the table. Her face flushed slightly red as she said, All right, satisfied? I've shown you respect. The woman in the red dress looked quite surprised. Then she snapped back to reality, giggling mischievously, calling her companions over. Sisters, come see the woman the boss lured here. No sooner had she spoken than 4 others surrounded TT. Each held a glass, offering invitations. Well, little sister, first time here, right? Let me toast you. Yes, me too. I'll toast you as well. Hope you'll honor us and not refuse. TT quickly realized this group's intention. It seemed they deliberately wanted to put her in her place. She decisively pushed the glass forward. Sorry, I'm not drinking anymore. The woman in the red dress angrily slammed her glass onto the table. Then she questioned loudly, You say you won't drink, and that's it? Who do you think you are? This champagne, whether you want to drink it or not, you will finish it all for me. Seeing the girl speak so condescendingly, Nguyen TT felt extremely uncomfortable. Hey, don't push it too far. Under the direction of the woman in the red dress, countless other girls had, at some point, completely surrounded TT, blocking her way out. Du D-Mac, finished with his business, came out and saw this scene, asking angrily, What are all of you crowding around here for? Seeing her silent, bearing her grievance, he walked over, grabbed her arm, and pulled her aside. He asked caringly, Did someone bully you? Under his overwhelming presence, the entire group lowered their heads in silence, not daring to look directly at him. TT, tears welling in her eyes, shook her head without answering. He embraced her, pulling her into his arms. Come, I'll take you home. Before leaving, he didn't forget to cast a warning glance at the group. Bullying my person happens only this once. Remember, there absolutely will not be a next time. Otherwise, don't blame me for showing no mercy. The girl in the red dress sat uncomfortably on the chair, watching the backs of the two as they left. Her heart overflowed with resentment. For 2 years, she had poured all her efforts into trying, yet couldn't even make Du D-Mac look directly at her once. Yet this woman could so quickly occupy the position beside Du D-Mac. How could she possibly swallow this bitterness? With that thought, she took out her phone to contact an information provider. Hello, help me investigate someone. Arriving home, he got out of the car and carefully carried her inside. TT, now tipsy, had drifted off to sleep. Auntie Dung asked worriedly, What happened to the young mistress? He glanced over, explaining, She just drank a little too much. Auntie Dung, could I trouble you to make some hangover soup and bring it up to the room for me? He gently placed her onto the bed, afraid of waking her. As he was about to stand up and leave, she suddenly reached out her arms and wrapped them around his neck. TT opened her eyes slightly, speaking unconsciously, Don't go. Her sweet words made him pause. Then he said decisively, All right, I won't go. Du D-Mac, thank you for coming to celebrate my father's birthday today. She proactively placed a kiss on his cheek as a reward. Then she pulled back, looking at him with a giddy laugh. Seeing her, his expression softened somewhat. It seemed she really was drunk. Du D-Mac pulled the blanket over her, gently instructing, Get some rest. She pleaded coaxingly, Why don't you stay with me? Auntie Dung knocked gently on the door a few times. Then she entered carrying a bowl of soup. Young master, the hangover soup is ready. Let me feed it to the young mistress. He took the bowl, smiling lightly. No need, I can feed her. Just then, the phone in his pocket rang again. He immediately set the soup bowl aside and answered the call. From the other end of the line, someone's voice came through. Hello, Buzz-Du? Miss Deep just had a nightmare and is crying, demanding to see you. His expression suddenly darkened. All right, I'll be right over. Just like that, he decisively left. Early the next morning, TT, after waking up, went downstairs, constantly rubbing her eyes. What happened last night? I don't quite remember clearly. Auntie Dung saw she was awake and said, "Young mistress, you're awake? Come quickly and have breakfast." TT noticed only she and the housekeeper were in the house and asked with wide eyes, "Auntie Dung, where is D-Mac?" The young master left last night. It seemed like there was something urgent he needed to handle. Seeing her standing there dazedly, Auntie Dung urged, "Young mistress, hurry and eat." With the young master's status, being busy is normal. As she brought out the food, she recounted, "Yesterday, when the young mistress was drunk, it was the young master who took care of you. I've never seen the young master so serious about anyone like that." TT blushed shyly and turned her face away, not daring to speak. After eating, she also quickly went to the Do Corporational work. As soon as she walked in, countless eyes turned towards her, making her feel somewhat uneasy. "A few days ago, I just got promoted, and then I didn't come to work for several days. My colleagues will surely have all sorts of speculations." She silently resolved in her heart. "However, as long as I work hard, I can definitely gain everyone's recognition." She went to the manager's office and knocked on the door. A voice echoed from inside. "Come in." TT pushed the door open, entered, and greeted Sister Lon. "I'm back." There was another person inside the room. Sister Lon looked at her and called, "Nguyen TT, come over here." Sister Lon pointed towards the person opposite and said, "To Ham. TT, both of you are my assistants. From now on, try your best to perform well, okay? TT, if there's anything you don't understand, just consult To Ham, understand?" TT nodded in agreement. "Sister Lon, I understand." Tuham turned and said, "TT, follow me." Afterwards, Tuham led her to a new office. From now on, she had her own office. TT opened the office door and was quite surprised by the elegance of the place. "Thank you, Sister Tuham." "All right, about the work Sister Lon mentioned earlier. May I ask a little about it?" Tuham understood her intention and handed her a stack of documents. "This is the list of employee benefits for the holiday season that the company has prepared. The budget and the collaborating partners are all clearly certified. Go handle these matters first." She happily accepted her first task after the promotion. "Okay, Sister Tuham, just leave this matter to me." Watching her retreating back, Tuham retracted her smile, instantly revealing her true nature. Procuring employee benefits is the most headache-inducing task, always caught between the company and the partners. Now that Nguyen TT has just been promoted, it's perfect to toss this hot potato to her to handle. Once Nguyen TT messes things up, it might even get her fired. She walked away holding the stack of documents, feeling elated. "Time to start working." The document says I can choose 2 employees to go out together to complete the task. She went to the main office area, smiled brightly, and asked everyone, "Is anyone free today? If so, come out with me to buy some things. We'll be back very quickly." Despite her enthusiastic call, the entire room remained dead silent. Everyone focused on their own work as if they hadn't heard anything. TT thought with some disappointment, "Does this mean no one is willing to go with me? Previously, my relationship with Chu Han wasn't bad. I can only ask her for help then." She walked over to Chu Han's place and proposed, "Chu Han, could you go on a trip with me?" Chu Han's eyes showed hesitation. Just as Chu Han was about to agree, Tuham interjected loudly, "Chu Han, have you finished editing the spreadsheet I asked you to? I need it urgently." Chu Han stood up, bowing worriedly, and replied, "Sister Tuham, I haven't finished it yet. Let me continue working on it right away." Tuham walked smugly over to TT, offering a provocative remark. "TT, as you can see, everyone is busy right now. Do you still want to ask others to put aside their work to help you? Besides, you are now an administrative assistant. You should handle these matters yourself." TT naturally understood the implication in her words, but didn't want to argue. "Sister Tuham, you're right. I'll go right away." And just like that, she left, feeling helpless. This was originally a task for 2 people. However, if no one was willing to go with her, she would have to complete the mission well on her own. She quickly went to the coffee shop near the company. Handing the documents to the person opposite her, she spoke up, "Boss Tran, I'm here this time to place an order for the upcoming holiday." After carefully reviewing the information, Boss Tran shook his head. "This price, I'm afraid we can't do it." He stood up, politely refusing. "Assisting Nguyen, your side changes things constantly. Based on this year's situation, I guarantee no factory can accept this order." She wanted to say something more to salvage the situation, but Boss Tran waved his hand, stopping her from saying more. "Di fet TT Sai In Fru Stay Sung." Dejected, She dragged her feet back to the company. After Boss Tran left, although she had contacted several other companies, none were willing to ship goods according to the quoted price. Walking all day in high heels made her stumble, almost falling. Her hand, holding the phone, suddenly tightened. TT groaned. It hurts so much. If only I had known earlier I'd have to walk this much today, I should have worn flats. Just then, she received a call from Tuham. Nguyen TT, bring the documents from this morning to the CEO's office right now. Receiving the order, she tried to quickly limp up to his office floor and knocked on the door. Given permission, she opened the door and went inside. Afraid he would notice, she walked as slowly as possible. If I just walk slowly, surely he won't notice the wound on the back of my foot, right? Boss Do, here are the documents you needed. All right, put them down there. He tilted his head, asking, what happened to your foot? She didn't expect him to be so observant. Her foot instinctively moved backward. I'm Fina. Not believing her, he stood up and walked towards her. Let me take a look then. She waved her hands, trying to stop him. No need. Ignoring her refusal, he authoritatively pulled her down onto the nearby sofa. Sit down. Don't move. He carefully removed her shoe to check. His eyes showed displeasure as he asked, how long did you plan on hiding this? She blushed, stammering, I. Without another word, he went to open the first aid kit and took out the necessary items. Then, he seriously helped her treat the wound. Nguyen TT just sat there watching him, not daring to blink, her heart fluttering even more intensely than before. She tried hard to suppress her infatuation. Nguyen TT, this is the company, don't get distracted. After treating the wound, he called Du Viet. Bring a pair of women's size 36 flat shoes here. Hanging up, he looked at her with concern. Du Viet will bring the flats soon. Change into them before you go out. As for these shoes, if they don't fit well in the future, don't wear them anymore. His concern deeply moved her. Thanking him, she blushed and asked, last night, I didn't do anything too outrageous, did I? He didn't answer, just turned back with a chuckle, letting her think whatever she wanted. Seeing that expression on his face, she thought, I must have done something to him last night. Seeing her curiosity, he felt like teasing her again. Want to know what happened last night? Her face flushed red as she nodded slightly. I didn't cause you any trouble, did I? He smiled, his meaning perfectly clear. If proactively wrapping your arms around my neck and kissing me doesn't count as trouble, then no, nothing at all. TT shut powder wheelie. She stammered. What? Outside, Du Viet arrived with the requested items. He spoke nonchalantly. Never mind. Boss Du, here are the flat shoes you asked me to buy. He took them. Thank you. He knelt tenderly on one knee and carefully put the shoes on for her. Let me put these on for you. TT, overwhelmed by the favor, was happier than ever. Thank you. The new shoes felt incredibly comfortable. As she was about to return to her workspace, she heard a sharp voice yell, Stop right there. Trin Loy, her face grim, demanded, Who are you? Which department are you from? I'm Nguyen TT, from the administrative department. Hearing the voice, Trin Loy felt a flicker of suspicion and moved closer. Nguyen TT, have we met somewhere before? Your voice sounds very familiar. Her eyes darted down to the shoes TT was wearing. Annoyance surged within her. Just now, I saw Assistant Du bring a pair of shoes into the office. Are those the ones on your feet? TT didn't answer the question directly, instead changing the subject. Secretary Trin, I still have work to do. Excuse me, I need to go. Having said that, TT decisively turned to leave. But Trin Loy reached out an arm to block her. Hold it. She raised her voice, lecturing her. Let me tell you, as long as I, Trin Loy, am here with the CEO, don't you dare entertain any improper thoughts about him. TT was immediately put off by her attitude, her expression falling. Secretary Trin, she retorted sharply, not everyone is as bored as you are. Being lectured by TT, Trin Loy felt her chest tighten with fury. What did you say? She could only watch TT's retreating back, trembling with anger. That voice, why does it sound so familiar? Suddenly, she recalled the image of the delivery girl who had brought items here before. She bit her fingernail, pondering. Could it be that the girl from last time is her? Could there be some secret between her and Boss Du that no one can know? This thought made her feel resentful. Impossible. How could Boss Du possibly fall for a girl like Nguyen TT? She clenched her fists, convinced her intuition couldn't be wrong. Yes, it must be this persistent girl clinging to him. How shameless. Her eyes filled with a dangerous glint. Nguyen TT, if I find any proof, I definitely won't let you off easily. Meanwhile, TT was in her office when she suddenly sneezed repeatedly. She wiped her nose, thinking, is someone thinking about me? She walked over to Manager Land's office and knocked. Nguyen TT, not here. I heard that you're currently in charge of purchasing the holiday benefits. This is very important for the company, Manager Lon advised. You've been specially promoted to this position, so quite a few people are unconvinced. This task, although a bit difficult, is the only way to persuade everyone if you do it well. Do you understand? Buoyed by this encouragement, TT's spirits soared as she declared, I understand, Manager Lon. I won't let you down. TT regained her composure, silently making a resolution. This first task is crucial. I must prove myself through this opportunity. Consequently, upon returning home that evening, she diligently immersed herself in her work again. She was so focused that she didn't even notice when Dude D. Mac arrived home. He quietly approached her from behind and whispered, What are you looking at? TT statan sureliwo. You? Why are you here? He chuckled. This is my house. Where else would I be if not here? Realizing he had misunderstood her, she quickly waved her hands. No, that's not what I meant. She hastily explained. I mean, you appeared so suddenly it startled me. Oh, is your courage really that small? Well then, I'll be more careful next time. His gaze swept over the documents on the table. Concerned, he asked, How is work going? Do you need any help from me? She resolutely shook her head, declining. No need. I want to complete this using my own abilities. It's also a way to prove myself a little. He looked at her with satisfaction, smiling softly. All right, take your time then. As if remembering something, he added, Right, there's something I want to tell you. This Saturday, I'll take you to the ancestral home to visit Grandma. Visit Grandma? He nodded. Yes, Grandma heard we registered our marriage, so she wants to meet you. TT Foutens again, but I'm not prepared at all. She initially wanted to refuse, but recalling how he had attended her father's birthday celebration that day, she paused. Oh well, whatever. Right now, Dude Mac and I are legally married. Meeting the parents is something that needs to be done. Having thought it through, she cheerfully agreed. Okay, I'll go with you on Saturday. The next day, TT arrived at the company brimming with enthusiasm. Before she could even step inside, an unpleasant voice rang out. Gwen TT, you're finally here. We've been waiting for you all morning. The arrivals were none other than her ex-boyfriend and his green tea companion. Seeing the two appear at her workplace, she asked irritably, What do you want from me? The shameless couple humbled themselves, feigning remorse. We came specifically to find you this time to apologize. Tan Hien Lu added pitifully, TT, what happened last time was our fault. Please, be the bigger person and don't hold it against petty people like us, okay? Let us off the hook this time. Thinking about what these two had done to her, she clenched her fists in anger. How ridiculous. You want me to forgive you? Remember, you were the ones who wanted to hit me. You were the ones who let Vong Loi set me up. Logically, I should be the ones saying this to you. You should be the ones letting me go. All right, we admit the previous incident was our fault, but because of it, Dude Mac has pressured the Duong Corporation to the brink. The financial chain has been broken these past few days. That's right, TT. As long as you can forgive us, whatever compensation you want, we will do our best to meet it. Tan Hien Lu stepped forward, taking her hand, trying to appeal to his ex-girlfriend's sympathy. TT, you're so kind. Surely you wouldn't want to see Noyet and me wandering the streets, would you? Besides, the Duong family isn't just the two of us. Our family members are all innocent. His eyes held a pitiful look as he pleaded. Think about our past relationship, and please, talk to Boss Du for us, won't you? TT, disgusted, forcefully pulled her hand away from the scoundrel. I don't know anything about these matters. Defeated, he lowered his head, conceding. TT, do you really want me to kneel and beg you? As he spoke, his legs slowly began to bend, preparing to kneel. TT quickly backed away several steps. Don't. Finally, her heart softened at the sight of her ex-boyfriend's pitiful state. All right, I'll help you. I'll talk to him for you. Having achieved his goal, the scoundrel immediately broke into a smile. He knew this tactic would succeed. TT had always been soft-hearted. TT, I knew you were very kind. Duong Noyet also offered a sycophantic smile. TT, we're counting on you for this. After agreeing, she felt quite conflicted about how she should approach him. With a sense of unease, she knocked on his office door. Seeing her arrive so early in the morning, he asked with some confusion, Is something wrong? Yes, there's something I wanted to ask you. About the Duong Corporation matter. Was that you're doing? He looked at her, his brow furrowing slightly. Yes, it was me. She immediately recounted the incident from earlier. Just now, Duong Noyet and Tan Hien Lu came to the company to apologize to me. That's how I found out about this. She looked at him, trying to steady her tense nerves before speaking again. Actually, I think the fault does lie with Duong Noyet, but it's not entirely unforgivable. She wanted to continue speaking on their behalf, but he cut her off. Nguyen TT, have you already forgotten how they treated you before? Annoyed, he lowered his gaze. You don't need to interfere in this matter. I know my limits. Their current predicament was merely fitting punishment. Fitting punishment, she sighed, pleading. Regarding Duong Noyet and Tan Hien Lu, I hope you can give them a chance. The irritation within him grew stronger. He refused instantly. And yet, you plead for the very people who hurt you? This is the first time I've witnessed such a drama. What I have decided will not change. He added coldly. Furthermore, what I did to the Duong Corporation wasn't for your sake. TT was immediately rendered speechless, unsure of what to say next. Just then, Du Viet burst through the door, his expression panicked, and began to say, Boss Du, Miss Deep Yin Ni posted. Noticing TT was also present, Du Viet abruptly stopped speaking. Hearing the name Yin Ni, she fell silent, thinking, why does that name sound so familiar? Du Viet approached and whispered something into Du D-Mac's ear. After listening, he replied, all right, just let her be. Tell her I will pay a visit some other day. As TT walked out the door, she became lost in thought. Who is this Deep Yin Ni, and why did Du D-Mac's attitude change so drastically just now? Her mind was filled with questions. Could she be his lover? If so, then why does Du D-Mac still want to register our marriage? Her mood soured further. Dejectedly, she took out her phone and called Annie Dung. As soon as the call connected, she said, hello, Annie Dung? You don't need to cook dinner for me tonight. I won't be coming back there this evening. I want to go to my parents' house.